What's Notre Dame going to go in 2024? What's their record going to be? Year 3 for Marcus Freeman. Time to do something. And I don't say that in like a what have you done for me lately kind of way, but I think for Marcus Freeman, that's what he's telling his staff and his players too. Like, all right, we've been here for a minute now. Let's go do something. Like, we're not here just to win 9 games and call it a good season. Like, we want to go make the college football playoff and make some noise in the playoff. That's why we pushed the envelope, getting a Mike Denbrock, getting a Riley Leonard to play quarterback for us here, going and added, key portal pieces. And I think, like, when you look at what Marcus Freeman has done since getting to South Bend, recruiting has been tough when it comes closer to signing day in certain spots for them. It's just hard to hang on to recruits, quite frankly. But even so, man, I think he's done everything in his power to make Notre Dame what they expect to be, which is a national title contending kind of football team. Hasn't happened that way just yet, but I think that's what they're pushing towards. Notre Dame fans, make sure you are subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel. College football season is here. Massive year for your Irish. Massive year for Marcus Freeman and Riley Leonard. Want y'all a part of this, okay? We've had a lot of y'all subscribe to the channel recently and become a part of this whole operation we got going here. No time like the present to lock it in for college football season. We appreciate y'all in advance. I think it's also very obvious when you look at Notre Dame, his fingerprints all over how they do things. All over it. Like, this is not the stuffy Notre Dame that you've come to expect at different points throughout this program's history. And stuffy is maybe the wrong word to use, but like old-fashioned, vintage, overly traditional, that's not them anymore. That's not. And I think the offense this year will reflect that. What I said earlier in the show, talking about week 1 expectations, I fully expect Notre Dame to open it the heck up offensively. I do. And we keep saying this, but like when teams make moves via the transfer portal, believe them. When they tell you, hey, we want to do more of this offensively, believe them. Notre Dame got one of the best quarterbacks in the portal. They got multiple wide receivers that have real deal speed. They got an offensive coordinator who averaged 10 yards a pass last year over from LSU. Like, they want to be explosive. They want to be high octane. And so with that being the case now, the pressure then falls squarely on your quarterback's shoulders. One, because you're the quarterback at freaking Notre Dame, so there's always some pressure there. But I think the pressure also falls on him because how they operate offensively will be very quarterback-centric. They're going to ask a lot of him, making good decisions and like that pseudo RPO triple option stuff they do, where Riley Leonard will read the dive key, essentially, the defensive end, pull it, he gets out on the perimeter, and he'll have a chance to either throw it out to that flat route or tuck it and run and get north and south. But that's just talking some ball there for you. But the bottom line here is they're going to ask a lot of him to make good decisions. And then on top of that, when there's money on the table, cash in. Cash in, because as much as they're going to want to push the football deep, they're also going to be able to throw the football deep because of what they're going to do in the run game. Like LSU last year with Mike Denbrock calling the shots and that really good offense last year, one of the best yards per carry teams in America. So they're going to run to throw. I believe that. And how Riley Leonard handles that will be massive. Will be absolutely massive. Now, defensively, Marcus Freeman's the head coach. He comes from the defensive side of the football. As long as he's the head coach, that defense will be there. Pretty straightforward. Like, there's not a lot of analysis baked into that besides the fact that you have, I believe, one of the best secondaries in America. Like, probably right behind Ohio State. You got Ben Morrison, Xavier Watts. You got some dudes now. And the way that Marcus Freeman operates, it's in his DNA. That Irish defense will be ready to roll. Make no mistake about it. So let's go game by game here and just kind of predict what we see the Irish doing here in 2024. First game of the year, College game day, College Station, at A&M. If you want to be who you say you're going to be, you win this game. There's no way around it. Hostile environment, first-year head coach on the other side at a new place at A&M, and Mike Elko, coming over from what he did at Duke. Riley Leonard's former head coach, Mike Elko. Like, there's going to be a lot of emotion on this one. It's going to be a crazy environment, ton of pressure. You're in year 3. You're in year 3. This is the kind of game that you have to have. I think the offense is the difference. I think that what they have at the skill players with Jeremiah Love is the difference, and I think they're ultimately too potent for A&M on that day, and they win that game. You beat NIU. You go to Purdue. You beat Purdue. You beat Miami of Ohio. You play Louisville. Now, Louisville has to come to South Bend this year. We all remember that game last year where Notre Dame went to Louisville. Jack Harlow's in the crowd. The place is going crazy. I mean, that Stadium was absolutely on fire, and they beat Notre Dame. This is a game now, I believe, for Notre Dame, they will have circled in red ink. Marcus Freeman will make sure they go out and get this one. I think that Notre Dame's crowd will be electric as well for this one. So I think Notre Dame wins that game, and they keep a good thing going. They stay undefeated. Then you play Stanford. Stanford could, I'll just say this. Stanford could be sneaky. You never know with Stanford what they're going to be, but I think you beat them. You go to Georgia Tech now. And this game is going to be played in the Benz. This will be, I expect Georgia Tech to be sneaky. Like I just said, Stanford is one to just maybe keep an eye on. I don't think that there's anything to worry about with Stanford there, so don't hear me incorrectly. Georgia Tech could find themselves being a little bit of trouble for you. All right, Haynes King, mobile quarterback. That's always something to deal with. I think you beat Georgia Tech. That's one, though, where if I'm Notre Dame, it's like, hey, lock the heck in. We need everybody on the same page, and we need to be locked in for this one, because if we don't bring our best game, this is a team now that is well coached enough and has enough talent to where they could beat us. They could make that happen. I don't think it will, but I think that's a possibility. So you beat Georgia Tech in Atlanta. You play Navy at MetLife. That'll be fun. Triple option. You never exactly know what you're getting there, but I think they should beat them. You play Florida State, and this is a game where I think it'll be back and forth. To me, I just think that the Florida State defense is going to be so good, especially at this point in the year. I think they're going to be team speed-wise a little bit more than what you're able to deal with on that day. I think that they end up beating Notre Dame, and I think Notre Dame has their first drop of the season against Florida State. Now, you beat Virginia. You beat Army at Yankee Stadium. You go to USC. Now, USC, it doesn't matter who the head coach is, but when you go to the Coliseum, it's not always the most treacherous place to play, but there's always one game a year where USC just kind of digs deep and wins a game that maybe on paper they weren't supposed to. Notre Dame fans are going to absolutely hate this, and I apologize that you hate this, but I don't apologize for our pick. I think that USC actually beats Notre Dame in the Coliseum to give Notre Dame a record of 10-2. However, 10-2 now for Notre Dame, you're not playing in the conference title game. I think that puts Notre Dame in the college football playoff. Now, what seed do you get remains to be seen, but you use that bye week and you punch yourself a ticket to the dance. And when you get there, if that offense is able to be clicking at that point in time, if Riley Leonard is all the way up to speed, you get healthy, defense, you get in your bag of tricks for that playoff run, and we'll see what Notre Dame is. But overall, I think 10-2 and a playoff berth, that to me is enough to check the box. At that point, I'm like, okay, everything that we've done here for Marcus Freeman, all the moves we've made, where we didn't necessarily have to push the envelope, we didn't have to challenge everything, but we did. We didn't have to go get Riley Leonard to be our quarterback. We had guys on this depth chart that we probably could have asked to step in and do a good job for us, but we did. We did go get a quarterback. We did get a new OC. We did get more talent on the perimeter. We did change our philosophy. All those things I think pay dividends this year, and Notre Dame ends up being a playoff team for you. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.